We had a look about arrays and different type of functions in the array and its implementation in the last chapter. Now we'll focus on its implementation with the help of HTML and .js file. .js refers to JavaScript file. So this is my project folder. I have arrays folder in it, and inside that I'm going to create a new file, and the name of the file will be array implementation .html. So I've created this file. Inside this file, I'm going to write whatever the HTML logic I want to say for HTML page which I want to design in my array. The next thing I want to tell you that the Visual Studio Code is the editor which I'm using right now, which can be used for .js files and .html files. It is like if you have a project which implements more of JavaScript, then Visual Studio Code is the best editor to work on it. And now in this HTML, I'm going to write just an HTML page declaration, but whatever the implementation of array it is, it will be not visible in the browser, like it will not document or write it in the browser. It will be visible on your console front. So let's check out while creating the HTML file what all is needed. First of all, I'll declare a doc type. So I'll say doc type HTML. After this, I'll start with my HTML tag, HTML. Now inside this, I will say head, and head will call for title. So my title is array implementation. Okay. So before this, I will also give a meta cassette. So I'll say meta cassette equal to UTF-8. So I've given my head tag. After this comes my body tag. Okay. You can also expand the view of the code in your HTML file using Visual Studio Code the way I did it right now. So to get the better view of the code which you're designing right now. Now inside the body tag, I'll create a h2 tag which says execution of various array methods. Now after this, I'll call for a script tag because I'm using the JavaScript file over here. So inside the script tag, I will say it is nothing but type as JavaScript, type as text JavaScript, and inside that I'll call for my script. So that script will be done using the attribute of src, and my name of the script will be array implementation.js. Now we have not created this file, so we'll create this file in the same folder. So over here I'll say a new file with the name as array implementation.js. Okay, so this file will call for this src. Src means it is a source code of the JS file. So it will call for this array implementation.js. Okay, so let's open my file. Here I'm going to first of all declare an array, use the functions like concatenation, getting the length of the array, insertion, deletion, whatever the criteria which we saw in the last chapter. So we are going to implement one by one over here. So let's start with it. First of all is like declaring an array. And before that, I'm going to declare a variable. So my variable is say 0. And here I'll say the value of the variable is 0. After that, I'm going to declare an array. So my array will be array of positive numbers. Okay. So here I'll say where positive numbers equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay. So once we are declared with the positive numbers, the next scenario comes as the negative numbers. So here I'll create an array, creation of an array for negative numbers, and it will be var negative numbers equal to, inside I'll mention -3, -2, -1. Okay. Now after this comes your concatenation functionality. So we are going to implement concat function for combining these arrays. So for combining both these arrays, what I'm going to do is with the help of a concat function. So here I'll declare a variable, say var numbers equal to negative numbers. So I'll take negative numbers first, dot concat. I'll concatenate it with the variable 0 which we declared now, which includes a value of 0, and after that I'll concatenate it with the positive numbers. See, if you have the look for this Visual Studio Code, it automatically gives the possible like say values. Once you keep on typing, suppose I type positive, for just that I type POSI, it automatically gave a suggestion that it is a positive number. So in that front, it is very beneficial to use Visual Studio Code if you are working on any kind of a JS file. Moving on to our code, here I concatenated negative numbers with the 0 as well as positive numbers. So this is nothing but for printing the number line. So how it will concatenate? First of all, it will concatenate my negative numbers, that is -3, -2, -1, and then it will take 0 and then 1, 2, 3. So in data structure perspective, here you get the systematic approach of the number line, and that functionality is very well developed with the help of concat function, which concatenates 2 or even more than 2 arrays. So once I have done with it, I'll do a console. So it will be console.log. I'm going to print numbers. Okay. So this we'll check in our browser. So this will be my, here I'll mention as output 1, which I want to refer. So this will be my first output. After printing up the numbers, the next thing I'm going to do is to get like even numbers and odd numbers kind of a function. So here I'm going to call for a function, and the name of the function is var is even. And here I will call for a function, that is function x. It will take a parameter x, and inside x I'm going to return the values. So it says that is even means if the number is divided by 2, it gives a reminder as 0. It means that the number is even. So here I'll take a comment that it returns true if x is a multiple of 2. X means the parameter which you are passing through the function. Okay, so now I will print a console, say console.log x, and inside that I'm going to say return. What to return? It's returning the modulus functionality, x modulus 2 if equals 0. Then I am taking the operator functionality, which is nothing but the conditional operator. So here I'll say true. If x modulus 2 is 0, then it will return a value true. If it is not, that I get a negative value or not satisfying the condition, then I'll get the value as false. So this way it does. Now we need to simply call this particular function whenever we want to execute whether the given number is even or not. So first of all, I'll say var numbers, okay, or say numbers 1, because I've already declared one variable over here. So here I'll again redeclare a function with the variables like value including an array up to 10. So I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my array length is defined as 10. So now I'm going to just check like whether my function is working or not. So I'll just say numbers 1 dot every method is nothing but the one which executes on each and every value in the array. So I'll say is even, which means that each and every element will go through this function. Like if 1 is modulus of 2, what value I'm getting? If 2 is modulus of 2, what value I'm getting? So in this way, it is going to execute the function. So here I'm calling for the every method and automatically it will execute the function. The next thing after every method is the for each method. So what does for each does? It just calls for the values in the elements. So here I'll say numbers dot for each. It is numbers 1 dot for each function. It will call for a function with the parameter as x. Now inside x, I'll say console.log. I'm going to print x modulus 2 if is equal to 0. It is like each and every number will go through this loop and what value I am getting will be printed over here. So in short, it will print a true or a false statement. So this was one set of the condition inside the x loop. I'm just putting a semicolon, that is the standard practice offered in JavaScript. So this was about understanding with the even numbers mapping thing. The next comes is the sort function. So for sort, or you can say sorting the elements in array, we use sort method. Okay. Now for that, you just need to say number and dot sort. So I'll just say console.log. I'm going to do sorting over here only. It's already sorted, but still you can reshuffle the values. Say for example, I'll call for another variable. Say variable numbers 2 equal to reshuffle value of numbers. So I have 7913. I'm going to sort this. So for that, I'll just say numbers 2 dot sort. Okay. So this will just sort the method. It's like sorting up the arrays in ascending or descending order. By default, it is nothing but the ascending order. So this was about the sort functionality. After this comes the next functionality is the compare. So I'll say function compare. Inside that I'll take two parameters a comma b. And after that I'll call for the comparison operator, that is with if condition I'm giving, if a is less than b, then it has to return -1. Okay, this is the first condition. After that, if a is greater than b, then it will return 1. Okay, and after this, if both are equal, okay, so I'll just say else, it will return, or instead of that I'll specify the condition, that would be better. If a is equal to b, then it will return 0. So it is like a must be equal to b. You can remove this condition and just specify return 0 if both the conditions are not working fine. Say for example, I'm removing it and just mentioning return 0, which means that if both the conditions are not satisfied, it will automatically return a value of 0. So after that, what I'm going to do is like, I'll call for a console, say console.log numbers dot sort, then I'll say compare. So I'll call for compare function and I'll just end it. So whatever the sorting numbers I'm getting over here, it will be called inside the compare function, or simply you can call a compare function with 2 parameters. So let's check in our browser. So I'll do one thing, I'll take a compare parameter with 2 numbers. So I'll say compare with 2 numbers 4, 9. We'll try doing this, and later in the next chapter we'll again check for the other implementations. So let's go to our browser. So this is my browser. I'm maintaining a track of all my JavaScript folder inside WAM folder. So inside arrays, I'll call for my HTML file. So this gives the h2 method tag which we gave, like execution of various array methods. Now here we are getting output in 12, 16 and 25 and 31 line number and 44. So your consoles are getting printed in your console line. How to open a console is just keep putting a right click and then going on to the console. So that is what it does. So I'm done the same thing over here. Now I'm getting the output of 12. So line number, that was nothing but moving on to the code number inside line 12. I mentioned that this would be my first thing, like concatenating both the strings. So I should get the number line like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting that particular output over here. So this is the number line with the index number it is mentioning. Then comes line number 16, which is nothing but checking out for is even parameter. So here, if I'm calling for x, say that particular value of x is being called in is even functionality over here. So it is printing up the values. So that print values is visible in line number 16, that is 1, which means that my modulus I'm fetching the value as 1. And it is again printing up these values over here in line number 25 that we saw, like every numbers 1 for each, like 1 is being tested with the console of 2. So it is like 1 modulus 2, what I am getting the value. So I am getting the value as false over here. 2 modulus 2 is true. So that particular execution is listed here in the console. And last but not the least was the implementation of sorting. See, we saw the sort functionality over here, which included various type of sorting things. But here we, by default, I mentioned that we have the ascending sorting. So it is sorting up all the values over here, which is clearly visible. And after that, I have the last functionality, which we saw is the compare thing. So here I'm getting -1 because it's obvious that 4 is less than 9. So that is why it is printing the value of -1. So in this way, the complete execution of array methods takes place. So this was about the implementation of array method. Moving on to the next chapter, we'll have a look on the multi-dimensional array implementation.